Hey everyone, welcome to the Rivalry Report, where we discuss pretty much anything that we want to, but really what we're talking about is we're trying to dive deeper into political topics and things that are revolving around our current events in this country. We are your hosts. I am Heather Asiyanbi and
I am Dr. Paulette Clark. Just call me Paulette. There you go.
Dr. Clark sounds really good.
I'm bored with it. I'm bored with it. We're still paying student loans.
I can respect and relate to that. Yes. Okay. So today our topic is in a nutshell, it's essentially, so last week, if you recall, our first episode, our premiere episode, and thank you to all of you who tuned in, we discussed that Americans lack civil literacy to the point where only some 66% of Americans cannot talk about how a bill gets passed in Congress, and they don't even know that there's 9 justices on the Supreme Court. Which is right, huge deal. So we talked about that last week. This week we're taking it a little bit further, and we're discussing how America's literacy crisis in general fuels political manipulation, which is a long way of saying we're going to talk about how we got to where we are. In this one particular way. So, Paulette, you want to go first there?
Let me go ahead and first start by saying I wanted to, Heather, make sure that we go here first because I think this is super important. First of all, my MBA is in advertising and marketing. So what we're talking about today is right up my alley. And I need you all to understand a couple of things that I have learned in my experience in advertising and marketing. And I know with you being a part of journalism, you see a lot as well. One of the things that we need you all to understand as constituents and voters in this country is that if you think that these establishments that are on the left and the right and in between are not utilizing advertising, marketing, PR, and psychology in their campaigns, I need you to think again, because these are things that the research is being done ahead of time, as Heather was saying, in regards to knowing the level of education that most voters currently have. And they know that American voters literally comprehend, listen very closely, on a 6th grade level.
It's actually below that now.
Oh, for God's sakes. Oh no. What's the level now? 3rd?
So, I'll tell you. 54% read below a 6th grade reading level. And nearly a quarter of American adults are considered functionally illiterate.
So there lies that issue. So in knowing that, when they begin the campaigns, the one thing that they're focusing on, and guys, again, listen to what I just told you. You're talking to someone who does this for a living, advertising and marketing. And we do start with the psychology of how things make you what?
Feel.
We don't care if it's a lie. Let's just put it out there. We don't care if it's a lie. How does it make you feel?
Yeah.
And we like to play on that, right? Now, I have integrity. Everybody does not. So I just kind of wanted to I wanted to make sure that we put that out there first before we get started, because you need to understand. Can I say it, Heather? Being played. You're being played, folks.
Oh my God. Okay. Let's stick to the script just a little, because you and I can go.
Yes, we can.
We can go. All right. So what Paulette's talking about is political messaging targets emotions, not intellect, right?
Correct.
It's not targeting how smart you are or how much you know or don't know. It's actually, it actually is counting on how much you don't know.
Correct.
So that it can use emotion, fear, anger, nostalgia, resentment.
Yes.
You know, those 4 in particular can be used in coded language, such as, the people, elite East Coast liberals, right? We hear that a lot. Or urban environments, inner city crime. All of those terms and phrases have connotations of being bad. And when you talk about certain things like urban landscapes or inner city crime, that in particular is a racial dog whistle.
Bingo.
For Black and brown people, right?
Correct.
And unfortunately, the way the human brain is wired, evolutionary. Thank you. Couldn't get that word out. The way our human brains are wired, and they haven't evolved past this, because believe it or not, it takes like 100,000 years for an evolutionary change to go through.
Correct.
That's just science. But because our brains are wired for negativity, because 10,000 years ago we were wired to watch out for the bad stuff, right?
Yes, correct.
And so because of that, anger and identity are more motivating than hope or policy. And so I really want us to be very clear. We'll probably talk about this in a different episode, but there is a very big difference between politics and policy.
That is correct.
Right? Now, we're not going to talk about that today, but I just really want that to be clear, is that, if you think about any of the advertising you saw this last election cycle, and if you're in a state that has spring elections, like I'm in Wisconsin, we have spring elections every year. And then there is typically a November election.
Right.
But sometimes, it depends on like who's on the ballot, right? But if you have 2 election cycles in a year, like we did last year, the advertising that comes at you is numbing. It's exhausting. And that's how they want it.
They want it like that.
They want it like that. And I'm going to tell you exactly why that's important, is because if you think about the statistic we just talked about, 54% of American adults read below a 6th grade level, and nearly a quarter, that's 21%, are considered functionally illiterate. That means 130 million Americans. Which is more than the populations of France and the United Kingdom combined.
Scary.
Lack the reading comprehension to understand basic sentences. So if you translate that with the through line, that means if people can't understand basic sentences, then they absolutely cannot they cannot pick apart the messaging that they're hearing. Right? That's just not going to happen. And most of the ads, getting back to those, they weren't created to inform you about anything.
No, not at all.
They're not created to tell you about Paulette's platform is this and Heather's platform is that, right? That's not what it is.
Right.
It's about inflaming grievances and magnifying fears, no matter how unrealistic those things may be, because political strategists know that if a person lacks the literacy skills to understand a policy brief or to challenge, like if they hear something and even if it doesn't quite sound right to them, they know that the next best tool is emotion.
Correct.
So and this has been going on, friends, since before the United States was a country. I'll let Paulette take that one.
So let's jump into that really quick. And I want to go back to what you were just saying, because again, I'm going from an expert's experience, but you don't notice it because you're in this country and advertising and marketing is everywhere and you just don't see it.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that Heather just talked about, which you have to pay attention to the closer that we're getting to these election cycles again, is how much news and information and and advertising that you're going to get on your television, on your radio, and also in your email and your mailbox, right? So the different and also social media. Now let's break this apart just a little bit, because I think that this is important for you to understand as well. Number one, when we are talking about these elections and you're hearing about the amount of money that these folks have, it is important for you to know that these funds are supposed to be allocated towards their advertising dollars, either for or against, for themselves or against their opponent. Now, I need you to understand that the amount of money that they have backing them up is so paramount to getting the message out. Here is why. Now let's circle back. There is something in marketing called TOMA. It means top of mind awareness. Top of mind awareness means that within an hour of time, we have at any given time, when you are focused on what you're focused on, to reach you with the same message 120 times. 120 times. Well, if you're not in front of your television, then then you could be listening to radio. If you're not listening to radio, you could be reading something on social media or listening. If you are picking up a piece of paraphernalia from your mailbox, then we're reaching you that way. Does this make sense, Heather? I see you getting 100%. Ready.
I was reading. Yeah, I was like, I looked up TOMA because I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
And so you learn something new every day, people.
Yep.
I was looking up. I'm like, what's TOMA?
TOMA. Yep. Top of mind awareness. Yes. And so those of us who are on this side of media use that. When I was in radio full time, the rule of thumb is to say the radio station, believe it or not, 120 times. And there's so many different ways to say it that you don't even know that you're being introduced to it.
Yeah, now that you say it, now that you say that, I can totally see how pervasive that can be. It's, what does your cup say? What does your mug say?
Coffee pairs nicely with silence.
That's amazing. I was drinking out of this is my dad's.
The Packers.
Packer mug. And I drank it, and I use it especially because Paulette is also from Milwaukee.
That's right. Cheesehead right here.
There we go. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
No. I think it's important for you to understand. Don't be angry. Be aware of how the amount of money that those folks who are running, how important it is for them to have the resources necessary, because advertising is not cheap, folks. Okay. And you want to make sure that you have enough money to reach the masses that you need to reach with the emotional portion of marketing to you, sending out the PR. They're going to come out and they're going to kiss babies, shake hands, hug people, all of that. That's the feel good. You didn't tell me any policies, but you came out and you showed up. You broke bread with me in my church, and you came and you knocked on doors and we saw your face, right? So all of that is a portion of the feel good campaign, either good or bad or indifferent. Those are the psychological steps that we take in marketing to reach you. And those are the different ways that we do that. Without the monetary resources, though, TOMA cannot be fully reached.
Remember, that's top of mind awareness. Thank you.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Just wanted to point that out.
All right. So, and that goes into actually the next part of our conversation, which is, how long this type of manipulation has been going on in the United States.
Since how long?
I looked it up. It's 16. Oh, poop. That's not what I wanted to do. Where'd it go? 1676. Potentially before then, but we know in 1676 is when it got the machine started to rev for real.
Yep. 1676. What was happening in 1676?
There was Bacon's Rebellion.
Bacon's Rebellion.
Do y'all remember that from school? Because I sure had not. I mean, I'm not saying I didn't learn about it, but what I'll say is I didn't remember it. And so when I came across it in research, I was like, oh.
Yeah. So that actually happened in Virginia. I don't recall a lot about it. So, of course, I had to go ahead and ask Google all about it.
Give it a Goog. Give it a Goog.
We use it. And so it was in regards to a dispute between, I'm not going to try to pronounce the name, but the Dogue Native Americans on the Potomac River. They were chased north by Virginia militiamen who also attacked the otherwise uninvolved Susquehanna, Native Americans began raiding the Virginia frontier. Now, the governor, Sir William Berkeley, persuaded the General Assembly to adopt a plan that isolated the Native Americans while bringing in Indian allies on Virginia's side. So basically what this guy did was he created what?
Well, I don't know the right term, but he was squelching the indigenous people from rising up, but at the same time there were also poor white settlers and early Black Americans who also were like, yeah, this isn't working for us. We don't like this. And so they decided we want to unite against the colonial ruling class. And that class responded with a very calculated plan to sow division. And it worked so well that it's still working today.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So this isn't new, basically. Yeah. It's not new. And if you talk about it long enough, people will believe whatever you tell them.
Yeah, I also think if you talk about something long enough, because this is, I think, what we're seeing with the Trump administration in particular, is it's not so much that they're telling lies, although they are. It's that they're saying everything else is a lie, and they're convincing enough people that there is absolutely nothing to be trusted other than what the Trump administration is telling them.
That's right.
Right? Exactly. And basically, so since the Bacon's Rebellion, poor and working class white Americans have been sold the idea that no matter how bad things get for them, as long as they aren't Black or brown, they're winning.
They're winning. That's right.
And that's what has created that. If you think about that through line and you look at the demographics of who voted for Trump this past election, overwhelmingly white men without a college education voted for them. I don't understand why white women with college education voted for him. I cannot speak for those people. I don't claim them, but well, I don't. But that is what it is. As long as, and they're willing. What's so insidious about this is that it's one thing to be like, well, as long as I'm not Black or brown, I'm cool, right? Yeah, but they've taken it miles further into, well, as long as they don't get it, services, education, training, whatever, as long as they don't get it, I'm good not having it too.
I'm good not having it too. And I think play with me in my brain for a little while.
All right, let's do that. I love that
space. Whenever I think about the current administration and their campaign to get into the White House for both campaigns, one thing that you will notice is that, first of all, the persona that was created that we know as Donald Trump was actually created by the team that created the Apprentice. They actually went on live news and talked about it and talked about how dangerous this was, but you waited too late to say something. And they created the persona of who we know. Yeah. So they created this. Yeah.
What fresh hell is this?
Oh, you didn't know about that?
Well, ma'am.
Oh, I watched it with all ears, eyeballs, and my glasses.
Oh,
Yes.
God.
So there's actually, so the persona that you saw on The Apprentice of you're fired and the coming in and the doing and the da 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 da.
Yeah.
They knew that he had already filed bankruptcy X amount of times. They knew of all of the atrocities that he had committed when it came to real estate and how he hadn't paid people and so forth. And we're talking about business only, right? So people knew that.
They probably knew about Epstein too back then.
Well, yeah, they knew. But when I'm talking about this interview, this guy comes on and I forget his name, but and I'll have to find it so that I can back this up. But he said that they created the persona that you know as Donald Trump as this strong, savvy, smart businessman when he was none of those things. He literally said that. And so when the show went live, people got the idea every week when they tuned in that he was this amazing guy, right? And so they never talked about the things that he had done, you know, to other folks in business.
I am ashamed that we used to tune into that regularly.
I never saw it.
We used to watch it just because I always wanted to see like what celebrities were on.
Yeah.
You know, but I never thought that like it was doing anything like real, right? I never thought about that. But I just like the drop, like seeing which celebrities were on. And then, of course, we'd have these spirited discussions about like, was that person fired? Should that, you know, right in our house? But I am ashamed that I used to watch it. But you know better, you do better, right?
Right, and that's all you can do. But knowing what we know now, the persona that people got used to seeing was this strong, savvy businessman from watching him on The Apprentice. Now, fast forward to where we currently are. Remember, he was also on the WWE, right?
Oh,
and
my God, I forgot about that.
Yes, I haven't forgotten. I saw that because I had family and friends who really enjoyed that kind of thing, right? Well, what's really interesting was I remember seeing him on I guess whatever that platform is, that you know, and doing his thing and knocking folks out and so forth and standing tall and rah. The reason why I'm bringing all of this up is because again, you have to understand Toma.
Top of mind awareness.
So when you see the persona that was created for him by a team of experts, they literally created a window of opportunity for you to see this strong, savvy, powerful businessman that could go and knock out the strongest of strong men in front of thousands, if not millions of people once a week.
Never mind that the WWE is totally fake.
Totally fake.
Like they had to change it from World Wrestling Federation, the WWF, to WWE because it wasn't real wrestling. It was entertainment. Everything was scripted.
And if you couldn't see that, well, anyway, so again, we were being set up early for what happened in 2016, right? Now, follow me and pay attention to some of the people that literally back up who he is or who they believe he is or who they have been told he is. In their mind, that is their reality. He is still strong, powerful, and so sometimes these people are, Trump, because they think in their minds, in their reality, that they're at a live WWE event. Now, mix that with what you just said.
And I think it's interesting, too, that you bring up perception versus reality, because what we have to remember is that your perception is your reality.
Is your reality. Correct.
The people around you may disagree. That they may be like, that never happened, or you didn't say that, or whatever. Doesn't matter. Your perception at any given moment is your reality.
That's it.
And I think that's why advertising can be so pervasive. You know, it's so. I mean, we didn't have advertising in 1676, but colonial elites, this is why they deliberately instituted a system. This is where, and I know that the first enslaved Africans did dock in Virginia in 1619. Yes, and I know this is like 50 years later. But it wasn't until this late 17th century turn that race really dug in to become the social construct as we know it today. And they did that by implementing a system of privileges assigned to people they defined as white. And that typically was only people from England. Mm-hmm. It wasn't Italians. It wasn't the Irish. It wasn't the Dutch or the Spanish. I mean, I think the Portuguese actually might have been the first ones to implement like the whole race thing. Mm-hmm. But American colonial elites are the ones that like really put that caste system in place. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's continuing because it's identity-based loyalty. Yeah. And because of that, that's how support happens for authoritarian figures or authoritarian regimes fronted by strongmen like Paulette was just talking about, such as Trump.
Yeah. And so again, even though if you have and again, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. If you have enough monetary resources, you can create anything that you want for other people to believe. And like you said, if I tell it to you long enough, I'm gonna tell you something my professor said in one of my first freshman classes, not freshman, but my first graduate class. He said, Johnny Q. Public is stupid. If you tell them something long enough, they will believe it, which mm-hmm. goes back to exactly what you just said. Mm-hmm. It becomes their reality, even when the policies say that it is not. Even when you say that this Medicaid issue is already starting to happen and they're putting people out of hospitals and leaving them on the side of the road here in Atlanta. When you say that daycare centers are already starting to close and are being impacted, especially in those red states that voted enormously for him, it goes back to exactly what you said.
Yes. Oh, I'm tapping because I'm.
What does the tapping mean?
Right. When I get agitated, I have to fidget, right? So like this, and I have I know this is not germane to this discussion, but I have these little color things. They're actually things to put like because I hate cords and wires, so I have to bundle them together. But these are my fidget toys right now.
That's okay. I got stickers. So
I mean, I know you have your planner and your stickers, which is amazing. But okay, so that's definitely one thing. But let's talk about how that turned into psychological warfare and modern tactics that use algorithms, that sort of thing.
Okay. So you start on that because I'm pulling up my information.
I think it helps to bring up what was going on in 2016 with Cambridge Analytica and Facebook, right? Okay. So as we know, algorithms, they reward engagement.
Yes, they do.
And when we talk about like somebody going viral, it's typically because the content that they've put out, whether it's a video and a photo with a caption, a story, whatever, it's because there's something about it that's outrageous. And I don't mean that necessarily with a negative slant. I just mean that it gets people talking. It gets, it evokes some type of emotion and an almost visceral reaction. Yeah. But go back to what we said about the human brain and how it's almost wired for negativity.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
So we will respond to content that is inflammatory much faster than we will respond to content that's hopeful.
That is correct.
Right? And so if you think about that, so Cambridge Analytica is kind of on a macro level because they infiltrated Facebook during the election cycle, to target people and to really play on those emotional triggers, right? Fear, anger, resentment, nostalgia, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also there are micro campaigns going on, especially among Latino and immigrant communities, using ubiquitous apps like WhatsApp, because
Yeah.
like if Paulette goes to South Africa, let's say, I can WhatsApp her, boop, 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 and she gets the message as if she was in the house next door.
Right.
And
Right.
so they're using these micro campaigns to get to people where they gather the most. And immigrant and Latino communities are especially vulnerable on WhatsApp, because when you think about, migrants who come to this country to harvest our crops, to help us harvest our crops, to fill our grocery stores, and to export goods to other countries, they need to communicate with their families back home.
Yes, they do.
And so they can use these apps to do these targeted micro campaigns where they send a text and it's got coded language. Correct. Things like that, and then that starts something all together. Yeah. Now I'm going to admit that when AI first came out a couple of years ago, I was firmly in the absolutely not. There's no way I can use that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now I have done a 180 in my thinking. I have learned how to harness the power of AI to make me more productive and efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, it's really getting difficult to discern what is AI generated and what is human. And Correct. So political and campaign strategists are using that uncertainty to create videos and deep fakes, because they can bypass logic. So logic's over here.
Yeah.
And they just go whoop, right over it.
Right.
And you can fire up some tribalism, right? So if you're feeling downtrodden because no matter what you do, you can't get ahead, and you know somebody else who feels that way, and maybe the two of you know 3 other people. Exactly. Well, now here comes AI, create these created videos and targeted messaging that gets, again, the lack of civics literacy. Yeah. They can't discern whether or not this is a genuine outreach or whether it's just something to play on their emotions to get them to go with the flow.
And because Johnny Q. Public is stupid.
Right. And so disinformation about voting, about LGBTQ, my words are really hard today.
Okay.
LGBTQ plus people. And let's not forget, what's the big word that Trump and his folks hate? Wokeness, right? So they can do all this disinformation strategy because they know that people are also busy.
Yep.
Right? We're trying to get our kids to school, get dinner on the table, go to work ourselves, keep the laundry caught up, clean the house, all the things.
All the things.
All the things. Plus, then we also have all these other insecurities.
Yes.
That they can play on.
Yep.
Right? So there's that. Okay, I'm done with my part. You can talk about psychological warfare.
So when we're talking about psychological warfare in politics, what we're talking about is what we've been talking about in this conversation, and that's engineered to do what? Stir your emotion first. They don't care about the policy. They don't care about the fact that it's going to impact your local community. They want your vote so that they can get in there. And if they can get you emotionally charged first through fear, anger, and pride, let's not forget that one, then all they have to do is just get in there just a little bit further and nudge your behavior to do what? Because ultimately, the nudging of the behavior is the call to action, which is what? Vote or don't, or not. Yep. Or stay home. And so that fear actually appeals. And it's actually real potent. And see, that's a problem, because we're basically telling people this is, you're feeling this way because so-and-so took your job and they're really not qualified.
Right.
And wait a minute, we've got men in dresses reading storybooks to our kids, and that's dangerous. And they got you in your feelings when they never even talked about the policies that are going to impact your communities and impact you.
It does remind me, and I don't know who Jon Stewart was talking to. The clip is all over the internet. You can find it.
Okay.
But he had an interview with somebody who was vehemently against drag queen story hours in schools, right?
Yeah.
And Jon Stewart asked him, he's like, so you think this is like the number one danger? And the guy was like, well, it's pretty important. He's like, well, if you're really against the number one danger to school children,
I remember that. Yeah.
You'd be against guns.
Guns.
Because guns are the number one killer of American children.
He had nothing to say. I remember
He had nothing to say about that. It silenced him. The person that Jon Stewart was talking about.
Yeah. I cackled at that because I thought, yeah, bro. See, and we have facts.
Now you have nothing to say.
Now you have nothing to say. So when we're talking about psychological warfare, there's several different tactics. The first one is don't vote, and they dress it up as activism, right?
Yes.
So the first thing that they do is they say something like, both parties are the same. Make a statement. Sit this one out. You know what I mean? So in 2016, Russian IRA troll accounts built fake activist brands targeting African Americans called Blacktivist or woke_blacks. Remember those, pushing boycotts and apathy? Remember that? Yeah. So I thought, now wait a damn minute. I remember that, Yeah. So it wasn't organic. It was strategic suppression through cynicism. And like you were saying earlier, Heather, and I know we got to wrap it up, but like you were saying earlier, the algorithm rewards you with more of what you've seen, which goes back to what? Toma.
Yep. Yeah, it's why when I am diving down the deep dark hole of TikTok, which I may or may not do often.
Yeah.
You really have to be careful how much time you spend on a video that comes on your For You page, because if you spend more than like 5 seconds or something like that, then the algorithm is going to start feeding you more of those ads, more of those videos, even if that's not what you want to see.
Exactly. And it's actually 3.
Oh, damn. Really?
Yeah. 3 seconds. Yeah. So you have to be careful. You got to scroll if you know that that's not what you want to see. Now, I'm not saying remain blind to what's happening, right? What I'm saying is we have to hang on just a second. Bear with me just a moment.
You're good. Did you lose your note?
No. Someone's stepping into.
Listen, Paulette runs a whole media company, right? In addition to doing this conversation with me once a week, she runs a whole media company. So occasionally life can get to lifing, both in business and personal. So that's what's happening right now.
$1:30. Yeah, we're filming. It's an hour and a half. I'm so sorry, folks.
You're okay.
Okay. All right. So I don't know if we can cut that out. All right.
We're not going to cut it out because it's like live television.
It's live. Yes. So yeah. All right. So really quick, and I apologize for that, but yes, you are correct. I run an entire media company, and we're filming today. So I was letting my editor know, one of my producers know, hey, we're filming at 2:00. You need to be ready by 1:30. All right. So where were we? I'm sorry.
We're talking about psychological warfare, and you were discussing how the blacktivism and things like that.
Yeah. So when you think about that, and so now we have social media where all you have to do is give it 3 seconds and then the algorithm begins to respond. So you're being rewarded with more of what you saw for 3 seconds. Now, remember, we're talking top of mind awareness, and you got 120 times in an hour in which to impact me. Now, everybody's doing this now. Okay. And you're seeing more and more and more and more things that you saw 3 seconds of, and then you're hooked, right? Mm-hmm. So what we're talking about is also the psychological warfare that is happening using fake bots that are set up by Grok and by Truth Social and so forth, right? And then you also have to understand that the current administration, the head of that, literally is living in a reality as the emperor with no clothes on. And he has continued to spew out interesting information to his base. And so we're seeing it every single day as an existential threat, because we're still seeing things like build the wall. Why should we build a wall? We should also think about things like what's happening in terms of like you said, with Blacktivists, and what we found out that they weren't even real Black folks.
No, they weren't. They were AI created figure, like talking heads.
Yes.
Targeting Black and brown voters to try to suppress their vote. So it's not just happening in legislatures at the state level, or even like what's going on with, so I don't know if this is a whole different topic, but at any rate, the Federal Department of Justice has been asking swing states in particular, Georgia, Wisconsin, Arizona, Michigan, a couple others, for their voter rolls.
Right.
Now, in case you didn't know, voter rolls are actually public information. But there's a process by which you have to go through to get them. You have to submit a form. You have to pay money. You got to do all this stuff. And so Wisconsin was like, we'll give them to you, but here's the form you got to fill out, and please don't forget to pay your fee.
Exactly.
And the DOJ was like, they haven't done it yet, as far as I know. But anyway, that's that. But yes, I mean, so voter suppression can happen in a number of ways, and it is in many instances through social media and advertising and all that. But you know what? We have solutions. These are problems, but we have solutions, because
we have solutions.
People. We have solutions. And the first one that I really want to stress to people, before you, we all I think there is a rare individual who doesn't have like a knee-jerk reaction to something, right? Yeah. Like you hear something, you read something, whatever, and you have a knee-jerk reaction. But what I really want everyone to do, no matter how much you know about how the government works and how the Constitution is set up and all this, every single, and use, let's get into the practice, because it's, sorry, I'm looking at a calendar, August 27th. Yeah. Today. So I could have just looked at my computer. It's August 27th, 2025. Mm-hmm. In Wisconsin, our elections are in April. We have local elections in April, and then the big statewide ones are in November. Mm-hmm. We have a governor's race, lieutenant governor, and I think five congressional seats are up for election. Mm-hmm. Here in Wisconsin. But before we get to the political advertising, I want you just to sit and really watch the ads as you're watching TV, or even the ones that might come up while you're scrolling TikTok or Instagram, or if when you're watching this on YouTube. I have a feeling that YouTube's gonna cut our video periodically with an ad, right?
With an ad, yeah.
Right, because these are long. Our conversations are like an hour. Yeah. But what I really want you to do is, while you're watching the ad, listen to the message, look at the visuals, and ask, what is the feeling that this message wants me to experience?
Yes.
And get into the habit of that now. Yes. So that when the political ads begin, because they are about to ramp up, folks, mm-hmm. then you can be like, what does this ad want me to feel? Yeah. And then you can further dissect by being like, well, did it succeed? How do I feel about it? Right? You can be curious. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We really want you to be curious.
Yeah.
And then the second one that I'm going to say and it is so near and dear to my heart. For everybody who knows that I am a journalist at heart, I am a hyper local journalist, which means I focus on a very small area. Mm-hmm. Please support your local journalists with paid subscriptions. With paid subscriptions, because it goes back to what we said during our first episode. Mm-hmm. There are now 5 sites of garbage out there for every one legitimate one. Legit. And those journalists who are helping produce legitimate work about what's happening in your local community, your state, your local community, your region, your state, and the country, they need to get paid for that work. So whether it's your legacy newspaper, like I'm here in Milwaukee, Paulette remembers we have the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel.
Correct. Yeah.
I have a monthly subscription to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not even that super involved in Milwaukee news, because even though I live here, my focus is on Racine.
Right. Right.
But I support my local paper because I understand the value that local journalism. We can't do this work. We can't bring you the news that makes a difference to your life. And I don't mean that in a broad, euphemistic way. Literally to your life. What roads are closed? How are you going to get to work? Are the bus drivers on strike? How's your young person going to get around?
Yeah, I agree.
Like, what's going on in your schools? Like, these are topics that touch your life directly. So if you leave this broadcast with anything, please let it be with a sense of curiosity about the advertising you're seeing.
That's right.
A commitment to support local journalists, both legacy and independent. Okay, go ahead. What are your solutions, Paulette?
It's okay. All right. So my solutions are about the same, but I want to add this to it because I know what's happening behind the scenes. Don't you ever for a minute think that there are not a group of people that are making decisions about what you will see, hear, breathe, listen to, and what you will eventually hold conversations with each other about. Now, because you know that, because I told you the inside secret, folks, one of the things that you need to make sure that you are doing is this. When you see those ads about those political folks who are running, even if it's your local folks, be a Berean of that information. Stop, assess how you feel, and then go do your own research.
Yeah.
That's going to be important because you can twist the words just so. You can use an and instead of the or you can say a yes instead of an okay, and it becomes something else without twisting the truth. But because psychologically we know from a marketer's perspective what your educational and reading level is, we already know the response that we're going to get, which is going to lead to the call to action to vote or not vote. How you combat that is by not paying attention to the right or the left or the middle. Do your own research. Connect with people who are thinking like you. I don't care if you're Republican, MAGA, because MAGA is not Republican. I'm sorry. I don't care if you're left, if you're right, libertarian. I don't care. Understand that everything that is happening in this country is happening because they put enough information out there for us to believe that it is so. Do your own research.
Period. And look at a variety of sources.
That's right. Not just one.
So if you're MAGA, you got to go beyond Truth Social and Steve Bannon. I forget what his thing is. I mean, for real, like he's got, doesn't he still have that website or public? I don't even know. It doesn't matter. But if you're MAGA and you really are like, let's go Trump, please look at other sources and understand that what you find may challenge what you think and what you believe. Exactly. Likewise, if you were your team progressive, I encourage you to do the same. You have to look at a variety of sources. You have to be willing to read what the opposition, what the other side is saying, so that you can then sift and, put it together so that you can figure out, like, where do you really stand on something?
Exactly.
Like we live in an age of too much information for people to be this ill-informed.
Yeah. It's true. You're right. But I think it comes down to that algorithm that you talked about.
I don't think you're wrong. Yeah. And I think people are inherently lazy about looking it up too.
That is
and
why.
Here's another thing. Oh my God. Shockingly enough, but candidates have websites.
Well, there you go.
And guess what they also do on those websites?
Mm-hmm.
They put up their policies and what they think and what
they do.
Policies and issues. They write policy papers. They do all these things.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they do.
And you can look that up yourself.
You can.
You can look up. Right now we have 1 Democrat and 2 Republicans running for governor because our governor is not going to run again next year.
Right. I read that. Yeah.
Yeah. So shockingly enough, you can go to all 3 of their websites, all 3 candidates who have declared. It's going to get bigger, I'm sure. But you can look and see what they believe, how they would vote, not vote because governors don't have votes, but you know what I mean? Like, what legislation might they support? What do they think about education and agriculture and manufacturing and, all these things that are central to Wisconsin economy, right? You can look at those. It doesn't matter what state you're in. Every candidate does a website.
Yep, they do. And not just that, I can't agree with you more about, digging deeper, right? Because sometimes they just put on the surface what it is. And then also find out, here's something else that you need to know as well. In all of the things that you're researching, I'm going to be honest with you, also find out where they're getting their monetary backing from as well. That's going to be important.
Go ahead, plug your list. Say the list. What are you working on?
Which one? The APAC, the Super PAC?
Yes.
I'm actually creating a list just for the Senate and the Congress, mind you, of who took what, because you need to know, and I want to know, right? Because this is coming, and we've recently learned in the past year. I did anyway. I'm honest about that. There's certain folks that I thought had my best interest in the U.S. and the world's best interest at heart took APAC money. That's a problem for me. It may not be a problem for you, and I can't speak for you, but I need you to know who took APAC money, who took other Israeli dollars, who took corporate dollars from PACs or super PACs. Do you even know what they are?
Yeah, like what do the super PACs stand for?
Yeah,
like what's their focus, right? Like all of this is to say, everybody, our call to action for you is to increase your civic literacy by really understanding the 3 branches of government, which we reviewed in our first episode,
right?
How they work together, what their jobs are, what their limitations are.
Yeah.
And then really dissect advertising as you're looking at it, because we need you to be more informed. We need you to be more informed because an informed voter is the best kind of voter. And right now, the most dangerous voter is the uninformed.
And they know that.
They do. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Good morning, afternoon, good evening, whenever you catch this. This was our 2nd episode of the Rivalry Report.
Yeah.
We will be back next week with another episode. And thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. And please let us know in the comments, like what is it that concerns you most about advertising and politics and that sort of thing, and how do you weed your way through it all?
That's right. And let's start that conversation. Yeah, for sure.
Let's have that conversation, but let us know in the comments and we'll participate for sure. But thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here, and we will see you next week.
All right, you guys, this has been the Rivalry Report.